All right, cool. All right, stay with it and keep getting on calls with us, and we'll help you out with whatever you need. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, you got it, Nita. Move on to the next. Okay. So let's see, what else do we got? Claude sent in a great question this week in regards to short sales. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with short sales and how they work, but he asked if you can actually wholesale short sales. And this is a great question because I occasionally get this, and there is money to be made in short sales. It's a difficult niche where a lot of people, a lot of investors just kind of groan and roll their eyes like, oh God, short sales. If you know how to navigate short sales, they can be a very profitable niche to focus on within your business. But to answer that question, can you wholesale a short sale? Technically, the answer is no. You cannot do a simple assignment of contract on a wholesale, on a short sale. I'm sorry. You cannot do an assignment of contract on a short sale. And the reason being is because it all comes down to the approval letter. When a short sale gets approved by the mortgage holder, by the lender, they have very strict stipulations within that approval letter of what you can and cannot do. And one of those stipulations is that that contract cannot be assigned. So how do you monetize those short sales? Well, there is a way that it can be done. And the simplest way, and it's not always possible, is just to do a simple double close. But when you double close it, again, going back to that approval letter, it usually comes with deed restrictions and title restrictions stating that the person who purchases that property has to hold it for a certain amount of time, and the property can't be sold in excess of a certain amount over the purchase price. The reason being this is all done is they tried to limit everyone taking advantage of those short sale type situations. Years ago, it was a lot more, fair game. You can't do that anymore. So they put these deed restrictions in place to kind of, curtail the investor activity of just buying and selling and flipping and escalating, false prices into the market. So if you are going to double close a short sale, you have to be prepared to at least hold it for a certain period of time. And most of the time you're going to have to add some type of repairs to that property to increase the value. And then the other option, which can be done, is another kind of a more advanced strategy, is when you write up your offer to purchase that short sale, you can do so in what's known as a shell LLC or a trust. Now, with I'm going to take my earbuds out for a minute because they're just annoying. With a trust or an LLC, you can add and remove members to that LLC. So if I always have an extra LLC that's just, waiting around, just an open entity that if I take title to a property, I'll use a certain LLC, or I don't use trusts too much, but I usually just have an LLC that's, that I can write up an offer in. And if we write up an offer on a property that's a short sale and put it under contract at a good deep discount, and I am the sole member of that LLC, the LLC is the actual buyer. I am a member of that LLC. In the eyes of the bank, that LLC can have as many members or officers as necessary. It doesn't matter. So what I could do is the LLC is the name of the buyer on contract. What I can do, or what you can do, is add a member, like you've got your end buyer and this investor that wants this property. You've put the property under contract. You can add that investor onto the LLC, and then you can remove yourself, and that investor can pay you a fee, basically, in a nutshell. Now, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but it can be done. It's not always, the opportunity doesn't always exist. If you guys do have a situation where you do have a really good short sale opportunity like that in front of you, I'd be happy to walk you through the ins and outs of it a little bit more in depth. Especially if it's from the investor's standpoint, if they're not familiar with you, their attorneys, or if they're not an experienced investor, their attorneys are going to get in their ear and say, well, you're just getting added onto this LLC that you don't know this other person. If there's judgments on that person, or there's liens or any type of risk that can go along with that LLC, they have to do what's called the UCC search, which is basically gives that investor an idea if there's any judgments or any liens or anything that goes along with it. So there's lots of different things that you need to overcome with that, but it's a very powerful strategy that you can use to monetize short sales. But that's a great question. What was it? Claude.